"Excuse me, ma'am. Can I have a word?" Officer Patrick Monroe's voice carried that falsely polite tone, flat, oily, a hint of condescension dressed in official language. He stepped directly into the path of Isla Morgan as she made her way toward Gate E16 at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Her boarding pass was tucked into her palm, her rolling carry-on trailing behind her as she made her way back to Washington, D.C. Officer Monroe was in his early 50s, a stocky white man with a graying crew cut, square jaw, and eyes like frosted glass, expressionless but far from empty. He wore the bland, hardened look of someone who believed authority automatically made him right. A small, forced smile curved his mouth, but it never touched his eyes. Isla stopped mid-stride. She felt the subtle chill of unease slide down her spine. She cleared TSA minutes earlier. Every item had been scanned. Every piece of her luggage had passed without a hitch. She turned toward him, her tone neutral but professional. "Is something wrong, officer?" She wore tailored black slacks, a silk forest green blouse tucked beneath a light gray blazer, and low-profile leather loafers. Nothing extravagant, just the wardrobe of a competent woman traveling for business. Her carry-on and leather laptop bag were clean, minimal, and well-organized. "Nothing serious," Monroe said with a slight shrug. A second officer stepped up beside him, Officer Daniel Lin, younger, Asian-American, in his late 20s. His crisp uniform couldn't hide the uncertainty in his posture. His eyes scanned Isla from head to toe, lingering on her wristwatch and handbag with a flicker of envy poorly disguised as curiosity. "We've been asked to perform additional screening today," Lin said quickly. "Random checks. New Homeland Security protocols. Shouldn't take long. Just over here." He pointed toward a makeshift inspection zone, a metal table behind a row of portable dividers. It was tucked into a far corner of the concourse, out of view from most passing passengers. Isla's instincts fired like tripwires. The words might have sounded routine, but the setup didn't feel right. She had worked too many investigative cases, seen too many abuse of power incidents to dismiss the signs, the manufactured pretext, the subtle attempt at isolation, the air of something staged. Still, she understood the stakes. As a black woman traveling alone, a wrong word could escalate things. Calm, observant, strategic. That was her way. "If that's the procedure," she replied, "but my flight's in under an hour." "Won't take long," Monroe said, smiling again, this time showing teeth. They walked ahead. Isla followed, dragging her carry-on and scanning the concourse, noting security cameras above, mentally mapping the exits, estimating the number of witnesses within earshot. She made no sudden moves, showed no irritation. She reached down to her laptop bag and felt the reassuring weight of her badge wallet tucked safely into the hidden compartment. She didn't reach for it. Not yet. The metal table was cold, unwelcoming. The space eerily quiet. "Go ahead and place your bags up here," Monroe said, all pretense of pleasantries fading from his voice. Isla placed her suitcase and laptop bag on the table. She stood back, arms loosely crossed, not in defiance but in alert composure. What followed wasn't security. It was theater. Monroe unzipped her suitcase and immediately began rifling through it. Not scanning. Not inspecting. Rifling. Clothes were lifted, turned inside out, dropped carelessly. He tossed her toiletry bag open, spilling its contents. Lynn took her laptop bag, opened it, and flipped through papers, pulling out her notepad, portable charger, a novel, even makeup containers. He opened a compact, uncapped lipstick, eyed her headphones like they might detonate. Monroe, meanwhile, stared at her conference folders. "Risk strategy? That what you said you do?" "Yes," Isla replied coolly. "Regulatory compliance and audit reviews." "Huh," he said, as if the words were foreign. "Fancy-sounding job." Lynn snorted. "You traveled alone? All the way to Atlanta for a conference?" "No assistant. My associate had a schedule conflict. I handle most things solo." Monroe picked up her watch. "'Tis odd. Not bad. Probably set you back a few hundred, huh? You must do well." "It was a gift," Isla said. They kept pushing. "What hotel you stay at?" Lynn asked casually. "Downtown? But those rates aren't cheap. Conference accommodations. Paid by the organizers." Every question chipped at boundaries. Not a single one relevant to airport security. She had seen enough. This was profiling. Not by mistake. By design. They found nothing, and that seemed to irritate them. Monroe looked especially frustrated. He cleared his throat. "Miss Morgan," he said, "we've noticed some inconsistencies in your passenger record." Isla's brow arched. "Such as?" "We're not at liberty to discuss the specifics." "Internal flags. Red level clearance issues. Could be ID verification. Could be something more complex. Might take some time." "How much time?" "Could be hours," Lynn said, shrugging. "Of course, if you'd rather not miss your flight," Monroe said, lowering his voice, "there may be ways to expedite your clearance." She said nothing. He continued, "You know, sometimes we're able to help passengers move through checks faster. Save them from inconvenience. Especially someone like you, with a job, a schedule." He rubbed his thumb against his fingertips in the universal sign for cash. Her face remained blank, but her eyes narrowed slightly. She said nothing. Monroe mistook her silence for hesitation. "A small token of appreciation, that's all. We wouldn't report it. Just a little cooperation." Then he smiled. That same tight, oily smile. That was the last straw. Isla straightened her spine, her voice cold and deliberate. "Officers Monroe and Lynn," she said, "let me be crystal clear. You have fabricated a claim of security concern to unlawfully detain and search a civilian traveler. You have used your positions to solicit a bribe. That constitutes a federal offense." Monroe's eyes twitched. Lynn blinked rapidly. "My identification and credentials were verified through TSA. You have no legal cause to detain me further. You are now escalating your abuse of authority into a prosecutable violation of Title 18, Section 201 of the United States Code." Monroe's face flushed. "Are you accusing us of something?" "I'm stating facts," Isla replied. "Facts that have been recorded on the overhead security cameras, including this exchange, which I'm sure your department will review when I file my report." She raised her hand calmly and pointed toward the ceiling-mounted camera. "You've made a terrible mistake." That's when Monroe snapped. "You don't get to talk to me like that," he barked. "You're resisting a federal officer. I'm placing you under arrest." Lynn hesitated. "Wait. Do it," Monroe shouted. "Now." Lynn grabbed Isla's wrist. She didn't struggle. She didn't flinch. She allowed the cuffs to be placed on her, knowing full well what would happen next. "Search her again," Monroe snarled. "I want everything." Lynn opened her wallet. He pulled out her license, her health cards. Then he found the badge. It was compact, black leather, and meticulously stitched. Inside, on the left flap, was a golden badge, unmistakable, embossed with the seal of the U.S. Department of Justice. Underneath, Inspector Office of the Inspector General. Lynn froze. His fingers trembled as he opened the second flap. Isla Morgan's photo stared back. Her name, her federal ID number, her title. His throat locked up. His lungs refused to expand. "Sir," he whispered, you need to see this." "What now?" Monroe snapped, grabbing the wallet and turning it in his hand. He stared. The words hit him like a freight train. "Office of the Inspector General." His grip slackened. The badge dropped to the table. His lips moved, but no sound came. Isla stood before him, calm and cuffed. "Remove the restraints," she said flatly. Monroe fumbled with the keys, hands shaking. The cuffs fell to the floor with a metallic clink. "I didn't know," he whispered. "Of course you didn't," Isla said. "Because if you did, you would have tried to extort someone else." She took her badge back, tucked it into her blazer. Lynn had stepped back, ghost pale. "I didn't mean." "You both did exactly what you meant to," she cut him off. "You profiled, you harassed, and then you tried to get paid for it." Monroe stepped forward, hands half raised in a plea. "Please. Please don't report us. We've got families. This was a mistake." "No," Isla said. "This was a choice." She pulled out her phone and dialed. "Department of Justice, OIG hotline. What's your report?" "This is Inspector Isla Morgan, badge 6-14. B. Reporting an incident of attempted bribery and abuse of power at Hartsfield-Jackson International. I'm requesting immediate command staff to respond. I'm holding both officers at the scene." Within minutes, a lieutenant from Airport Command arrived, followed by Internal Affairs. Monroe and Lynn stood silently as their badges, guns, and radios were confiscated. They were escorted away without another word. The fallout was swift. By the end of the week, both officers had been fired. By the end of the month, they were under investigation for potential federal charges. Isla flew home on the next available flight, her report already submitted, her conscience clear. She didn't feel satisfaction. She felt responsibility. Because she knew this wasn't just about her. It was about every woman like her who didn't carry a badge. Every traveler who wasn't believed. Every innocent person who got pulled aside for reasons no one could justify. She hadn't chosen this confrontation, but she had finished it. And in doing so, she reminded the man the system they worked for that justice never travels alone.